Hey, welcome to the podcast. This is The Surge Effect, and I'm your host, Mike Surge. This podcast will be talking about anything and everything, life in general to current events and past events, and all things about this beautiful and wonderful world that we live in. And this podcast, well, it'll probably have an effect on you. Well, hello again, and welcome to another episode of The Surge Effect. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about 2020 election and, a little bit of shenanigans. And before we get into it, first I'm going to mention two of my sponsors. My first sponsor that I'm going to mention today is Love My Legs Owen Sound Grey Bruce. If you click on the link below in the description, it'll take you right to their Facebook page. You'll see all the items they have to offer. And they have three styles of waistbands, and they are the only lifetime guarantee in the business. So head on over and check out what they have to offer. Our next sponsor for today is He Shirts, She Shirts. Same thing. Click on the link below, head on over to their website, and check out what they have to offer. They are more than just a t-shirt company. They have all kinds of clothing that you can purchase. All right, let's get into today's podcast. So today's podcast, we're going to be talking about the 2020 election. And, of course, people say it was little shenanigans going on, and other people say that it wasn't. But I'm going to show you a few videos. And we're going to be talking a little bit about some things in those videos. And, hey, by the end of the podcast, you may or may not agree with what I've said. And, hey, like I've always said, feel free to leave any comments down below. Just let me know what you think. If you've never heard of 2,000 Mules, 2,000 Mules is a little documentary by a fellow by the name of Dinesh D'Souza, and he did an amazing job, I thought, of explaining what he thinks is kind of transpired, and with the information that he has, that he had received, and information that he had collected. But I'm just going to play you a little bit of a trailer here at the very start so you can hear it. And we'll go from there.
Let me say it again.
The 2020 election was the most secure
election in American history.
Let me begin by asking a very simple question. Do we know the truth about what really happened in the 2020 election?
I think millions of Americans know something went wrong, and they have little pieces, and no one's really put it together.
I'm agnostic on this question, and I am awaiting more information.
If I believed the president were a Nazi, I might steal an election.
Bold accusations require bold evidence, and they haven't seen it.
We have been working on something big.
Show me the money.
Can we meet? I've been working with Greg Phillips. He has a deep background in election intelligence.
True the Vote has the largest store of election intelligence for the 2020 elections in the world. No one has more data than we do. We identified in Atlanta 242 mules that went to an average of 24 drop boxes. But Philadelphia alone, we've identified more than 1,100 mules.
What is a mule?
Person picking up ballots and running them to the drop box.
This is not grandma out walking her dog. Bad backgrounds, bad reputations. They are interested in one thing, that's money.
And in no shape, in no way, in no time is that legal.
This is organized crime.
Do you have video evidence?
4 million minutes of surveillance video around the country.
What you're about to see is disturbing.
So this is 1 o'clock in the morning.
Don't we all vote at 1 o'clock in the morning?
So one night, this person, this mule, went across 6 counties to 27 different drop boxes.
I call it the Mexican mafia, seriously, because they work like that.
So that, in a nutshell, is what's been going on, of course, they figured in the States, because what they did was the geopolitical tracking of cell phone. And they know where you are within a couple of meters, basically. And they took all that information, and they found out that people were going to these drop boxes, not one, not two, but like sometimes hundreds of different drop boxes, the same individual. Anyway, it's quite intriguing. It's something to check out. It gives you an idea of, could it have been done? Could it not have been done? Right? Raises questions, obviously. With Trump, of course, raising the questions in regards to whether or not it was a stolen election, if the election was rigged in any way, or if there was shenanigans going on in any way. He's up in charges right now because of that, but it's his free speech. It's his way of saying, hey, listen, I believe that there's something going on. Well, that's their First Amendment right to do that in the United States of America. And it's kind of comical because the Democrats themselves have done the exact same thing. And they have mentioned the same thing, but I don't see any of them going to jail. And I'm just going to show you a little clip here of this is Trump's lawyer in one of his impeachment hearings. And he was showing some clips of their Democrats doing the same thing.
You claim that it's wrong to object to the certification of election results. You, along with your allies in the media, attempted to cancel and censor members of this chamber who voiced concerns and objected to certification. Manager Raskin, you'd been in Congress only 3 days when you objected in 2017. It's one of the first things you did when you got here.
I have an objection because 10 of the 29 electoral votes cast by Florida were cast by electors not lawfully certified.
Is the objection in writing and signed not only by the member of the House of Representatives, but also by a senator?
It is in writing, Mr. President.
Is it signed by a senator?
Not as of yes, Mr. President.
In that case, the objection cannot be entertained.
Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of Georgia on the grounds that the electoral votes were not...
There's no debate.
I object to a certificate from the state
There's
of North Carolina based on violations of the Voting Rights Act.
There's no debate in the joint session.
I object because people are horrified by the overwhelming evidence.
Section 18, Title 3 of the United States Code prohibits debate.
I object.
Objected
to the counting of the electoral votes of the state of Ohio.
I object to the certificate
from
the state of Alabama. The electors were not lawfully certified.
I object to the 15 votes from the state of North Carolina because of the massive voter suppression and the closing of polling booths.
There's no debate. There's no debate. There's no debate.
And the massive voter suppression that occurs to African Americans.
The gentleman will suspend.
I have an objection to the electoral votes.
The objection is in writing, and I don't care
10,
that
11.
It is not signed by a member of the Senate.
I do not wish to debate. I wish to ask, is there one United States
Maxine.
senator who will join me in this letter?
Maxine Waters standing up and, saying, hey, can I get a senator to sign this for me? So there you can see it. It goes on and on and on. That goes on for quite some time. A lot of Democrats standing up and objecting to the election. So why aren't they being charged? Or what's next for them? Are they going to be going to court to answer for what they've done? They're simply asking a question. They're really, they're saying, hey, I don't think that it was fair, or I don't think it was right, or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to move on here just a little bit, and we're going to talk about the numbers. So like Joe Biden, I'm going to pop this up here. Joe Biden, he won 81,283,098 votes. It says it's 51%. He's the first U.S. presidential candidate to have won more than 80 million votes. Trump won 74 million. It says it's 46% of the votes. So that was more than any other presidential candidate has ever won in the history of the United States of America. That's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive numbers, if you ask me. But if you were to sit down with your calculator and just do some simple math, here's some more numbers here. That's more than 159 million Americans voted in 2020. That's 159,633,396, it says, to be exact. That's the largest total of voter turnout in United States history, and the first time more than 140 million people actually voted. The voter turnout in 2020 was the highest in 120 years. Wow. That's a good question to ask. How come? Why was there such a huge turnout? Anyway, you have to go all the way back to like 1900 to find a higher percentage turnout. And then even goes farther back than that. The election of 1876 holds the record for the highest turnout of 82.6%. That, of course, was also one of America's most controversial and consequential elections, and not in a good way. Anyway, you guys can play with those numbers yourself, add them up, figure out what you think. Since, like I said, Trump got 74 million and Biden got 81 million. So, since these numbers are fairly large, let's look at the inaugural turnout for the numbers here. I'm just going to show you a little video clip here of Biden's inauguration and Trump's inauguration, and let you have a look here.
Robert Biden Jr. do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
Office of President of the United States.
Speed it up a little bit. You can see that the inauguration ceremony looked very different than other ones. Look at the numbers. These are the huge crowds that are typically packed the National Mall for this event. Huge numbers. Look at the number of people that were there for that one. And those are flags. Literally flags flying in fields. Look at the people that were there for Biden. They're next to nothing. You got to remember, 81 million people voted for this guy. 81 million people. Now here's Trump. When he
that I will faithfully execute.
Speed up a little bit here. See his numbers?
President
There's
of
his
the
numbers.
United States.
That's overlooking Trump's numbers.
United States.
Okay, so that's just Biden and Trump, and then people will go, "Oh well, that's just whatever, camera angles, whatever." Well, here's another video that I found on the internet, and anyone else can find the same thing. There's two different views of inauguration, one of Trump and one of Obama. So let's have a look. Here are the numbers. You can see it. They do a little side pan too as well. January 20, 2009, 11:30 a.m. See the numbers. There's the numbers there. So one side, left side is Obama, and the right side is Trump. Look at the sheer numbers. Obama had less than 81 million people vote for him, but he was supposedly the most popular president in the history of the United States. He had a pretty great turnout. Trump, not so many, of course, but his is still fairly substantial, if you ask me. Now, what I'm going to do is play another video for you, and this one here is of a news reporter, and he's up on top overlooking Biden's inauguration. So have a listen.
Hey guys, we're here at the inauguration. It's the most bizarre scene you ever saw in your life. There's like 100 people at the Biden inauguration. And it's dystopian. So there's nobody here. There's like more people up here with the press overlooking the Capitol than there are at the inauguration. We're here with Fox News and CNN, and this guy Eric is great from TBN. He's a Middle East correspondent. Really great coverage. Conservative.
Look at the people. Look at the people that are not there.
So, again, it's freezing here. It's like 25 degrees. It's snowing. Kamala Harris and Amy Klobuchar just spoke. There are more people at the West Palm Beach airport waiting for Trump than there are here at the inauguration. Truly an incredible time in our history. You know, I've been to past inaugurations for W and Trump. You know, there were 500,000 to 1 million people at each event, and even Obama got close to probably 700,000 or something like that. It's
exactly. That's what I was just showing you there a minute ago about the numbers between Obama and Trump.
Eerie. You know, it's the first time Biden got thousands of people to his event, but they're all National Guardsmen who are forced to be here. There is no security threat down here. It's just a lie. And I think they brought in these 25,000 troops because Biden couldn't get enough people to his inauguration, and it's a cover.
So that's quite amazing when you look at that view as opposed to the one from Obama or even Trump for that matter. 81 million votes. This guy got 81 million votes. It just boggles my mind. Hey, listen, I don't love Trump. I don't hate the guy. Same with Biden. I don't love him. I don't hate him. I got no dog in the hunt. But numbers don't lie. Pictures don't lie. Videos don't lie. And when you see stuff, you just kind of say to yourself, things don't seem right. They just don't seem, they seem a little off. And even to this day, you'd be hard-pressed to find, like, Biden surrounded with huge crowds shouting USA or shouting Biden's name or excited to see Biden, really patriotic. And you'd be hard-pressed to find that. I'd like to see it. Leave some in the comments. Leave some in the comments for me if you could. But, like, to give you an example, so here's Trump doing one of his rallies. And this is back in, like, 2017, before he became president, and when he was doing a lot of his rallies. And he even does rallies to this day, like once, 2, sometimes 3 a week. And they're like 20, 30,000 people. It's insane. So here's one here in 2017. And this one here, he always tells the people to turn around and that are using the cameras, turn around and see the crowd. Most times they don't. This time they happen to. So check it out.
I want the cameras to span the room. Go ahead, fellas. Watch. They don't turn them. They don't turn them. They don't turn them. Go ahead, turn them. Look, turn the camera. Go ahead. Turn the camera, ma'am. Turn the camera. You with the blonde hair, turn the camera. Show the room. Go ahead. They don't turn them. What about, hey, you in the center, why don't you turn your camera? Show them how many people come to these rallies. Turn them. Go ahead, turn them. Go ahead.
And that is in an airplane hangar. Place is packed, right? Place is packed. And in 2020, of course, he got 74 million votes. And like I said, Biden got 81 million votes. So here is, here's a, I mean, this is it's kind of bizarre, but this is a little rally that Joe Biden did. And I think Barack Obama was showing up to this one, I believe. But notice the little circles that are in this area right here. Right there, circles. Those are for people to sit in their chairs. And that's an aerial view. And you see some of these people sitting down here in the, looks like they're in their, I don't know, like a little tent or something. And there's like 1, 2, 3, 4. You can literally count the cars. And you could probably find this rally on the internet as well of when he was talking. But there's the stage. It's like a drive-in. Like a drive-in rally. Like a drive-in or drive-through. Kind of bizarre. But once again, this guy got 81 million American votes. Here's another one when he was doing a rally. And people were in chairs. They were just sitting in their chairs and listening to him talk. That was one. And here's another view Same kind of a situation. Kind of bizarre. Really, really bizarre. But anyway, like I said, to this day, President Trump gets crowds that are just over the top. Now, this one here was in UFC 287, and there's about 20 some odd thousand people at this UFC in 287, UFC 287, and listen to them chanting for Trump and USA. It's just amazing. Yeah, so that was, like I said, UFC 287, and there they are. They're just screaming, standing on their feet, shouting out for Trump. And this one here was just literally the other day. This was UFC 295. This was in New York, Madison Square Garden. It was well over 20,000 people at this one. Same thing. Here we go. Over 20,000 people at that one, and they are freaking out because Trump walked in with Tucker Carlson, and that's just wild. Anyway, like I said, picture or video is worth 1,000 words. But he got 75 million or 74 million, and Biden got 81 million. So here's a gentleman here that was on the Timcast podcast, and he was talking about, because people always say, well, there's no proof that there was any election interference or any election fraud or anything like that. That's horseshit. Absolute horseshit. There is so much stuff out there, it's unreal, but mainstream media doesn't cover it. And it's like a taboo subject. YouTube, it's just a taboo subject, and a lot of other different mainstream media is a taboo subject. You can't talk about it. But here's a gentleman here who was talking about the machines. And this guy was on Tim Pool podcast. Check this guy out. Here we has to say.
Google alone shifted more than 6 million votes to Joe Biden. Now, by the way, I supported Hillary Clinton. I supported Joe Biden. I lean left myself. So I should be thrilled, but I'm not thrilled because I don't like the fact that a private company is undermining democracy and getting away with it, and there's no restrictions on them whatsoever, absolutely none. They have an absolutely free hand, so they do what they're doing blatantly and arrogantly. Quick example of another ephemeral experience to show you how blatant and arrogant this is. Florida in 2022. Okay, so we were monitoring Florida because it's one of the key swing states. On Election Day, November 8th, all day long, Democrats in Florida were getting go vote reminders on Google's homepage. Wow. Conservatives, Facebook, not so much. In other words, 100% of Democrats in Florida were getting those reminders all day, 59% of conservatives. That is an extremely powerful and blatant, but if you don't have a monitoring system in place to capture all that ephemeral stuff,
the FEC should be all over this. This is a party in-kind donation to the party, to the candidates. They should be all. The FEC is the flip of the switch. They won't. Yeah, but President Trump beat the cheat 2016. Well, I think he beat the cheat in 2020. Well, but he's not president, so I know. Well, but so 78,000 vote differential. Yeah. When we know that there are these. Well, I would agree with you. Smaller amount of cheat, but through, different tech.
Well, if this is true, I mean, then Trump's popularity is
huge. Oh yeah,
huge. It was a collective. What was that? 44,000 votes in 3 swing states, or what stopped Trump from 2020.
That's right, exactly. Eric?
Now, one thing we've learned how to do. This is very recent, by the way, in our work. We've learned how to look at an election that took place, look at the numbers, and we can factor out Google now. So in 2020, Trump won 5 out of what were generally considered to be 13 swing states. If you factor out Google, Trump would have won 11 of those 13 swing states.
New York and California.
There's Tim Pool there. Yeah, so those guys were monitoring monitoring numbers and monitoring vote counts and stuff like that. It's their job. It's what they do. Here is another one that just literally occurred a few months ago, and this has to do with the same thing. But people are like, "Oh, there's no evidence. There's nothing out there." But this literally happened just the other day, a few months ago. Sorry, and this was reported on. So listen to this.
Voters went to the polls to vote on a local county commissioner race in District 2 between Lauren Alexander, Marshall Orson, and Michelle Longspears. The end result from the Dominion machine showed Lauren Alexander received 34.67% of the vote, Marshall Orson receiving 41.35% of the vote, and Michelle Longspears receiving 23.98% of the vote. In Georgia, if one candidate doesn't get above 50% of the vote total, a runoff election is automatically held between the two top candidates, meaning Michelle Longspears was cut out of the race. But Michelle Longspears felt odd about the numbers, so she visited different precincts to double-check the tallies. Guess what? She noticed that in some precincts she didn't receive a single vote. But how is that possible that a candidate with 24% of the vote total finds precincts where she didn't receive a single vote? While statistically alarming, the real surprise came when she realized there was not one vote cast for her in her own precinct, the same one where she and her husband voted for herself. Spears immediately demanded a hand recount of the results and got one. On June 1st, the results were released, and the difference between the Dominion machine count and the hand count was shocking. After the hand count, Lauren Alexander gained 355 votes, Orson lost 1,298 votes, and Spears actually gained 3,620 votes, making her the new runoff candidate. And here's the best part. When you add them all up, the hand count shows 2,810 votes more than the Dominion machines reported on the 24th. This is huge. In the small county commissioner's race, with 15,500 votes total, the Dominion machine tally was short by nearly 3,000 votes. What does that say about all the other races that were conducted on these very same machines? This is proof that the machines cannot be trusted. If Spears had not sounded the alarm, no one would have ever known.
If the alarm had not been sounded, no one would have ever known. See, we eat what we are fed via the news media, and everything that they report on, we lap it up, just like the Russia that was shoved down everyone's throat for 4 years. That was bullshit. Same principle. So if somebody keeps telling you the same thing over and over again, you're just going to eat that same thing up. But no one gives you anything else to go by. No one else gives you any other information. And chances are, if other information does come out there, they go, "Oh, that's a conspiracy theory," or "That's bullshit," or "That's misinformation." Well, check into it. See if it in fact is. And if it is, then you can rule it out. But until then, what do you got? What are you left with? Right? It's that's why Trump is. I'm going to throw this little thing here. That's why Trump is going to demand that the election fraud trial be televised. Excuse me, televised, so the public can see it is nothing more. It's just dreamt up. It's an unconstitutional charade. So that's what he wants, because he spoke out, like I played at the start of the podcast there, with the Democrats were speaking out against about the numbers that they didn't believe were true, and because he spoke up, he's getting dragged through the court system because of it. So he wants it televised so the world can see, and hopefully you will see all the stuff that I've posted here, and you'll see numerous other things. There's so many other things out there. It's unbelievable. You can find it for yourself. I found that stuff in like 20 minutes, not even 25 minutes maybe. Didn't take long at all. And there's a ton of other stuff, but I'd be here for hours, so I'm going to try to cut it short. So this is, basically a half-hour podcast. It's really quick. So listen, that is the end of the podcast. Please leave any comments below for anything that I've talked about. I'm sure that you probably have things that you've seen. Leave some links in there so you can share it with other people. Share this video as well. It's much appreciated. But I've always appreciate the people who've subscribed to my channel, liked my channel. It helps with the algorithm. So like the videos as well. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and ring the little bell. You ring that little bell, and you will be notified on any future videos that I post. My videos can be also found on Rumble, rumble.com. It can also be found on all iPhones as well as Androids using the app for podcasting. Just simply type in The Surge Affect with an A, all one word, and you will see my black logo TSA with my microphone on it. I'm on social media as well, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I try to spread myself around. So please share my videos, and hopefully more people can get on the wagon. Much appreciated, like I said, for everyone that's listened to my podcast and for tuning in and listening to me. Until next time, everyone, please have yourself a great day and catch you on next podcast. Cheers, everyone. This episode sponsored by He Shirts, She Shirts. Go to www.heshirtssheshirts.ca. Just type in the letters TSA, The Surge Effect. When you check out, type in TSA for your coupon and receive 10% off your next purchase. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, everybody.